Good Zoom, Jim.
Well, I didn't say I wasn't going to show up. It's just that one I wouldn't be.
It's 3 hours difference.
Good evening, Mayor.
Good evening, all.
Hey, Mayor.
Welcome to our new member, Ann.
Hello, thank you.
Well, welcome back, I guess.
Thank you.
Welcome.
And I don't know, there's another gentleman, last name of Constant. I don't know who's on the phone. I don't know.
I don't see him dialed in yet.
Yeah,
Okay.
do we know who the call-in user is?
His name's Kendrick Constant.
Yeah.
No, but there's a dial-in user on the line right now.
866-9502.
Yeah.
I don't know who that
Hi,
is.
I'm taking the minutes, 9502.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, it is 6:31, Ed, so I'm going to turn it over to you. I think we have a quorum.
Give me 1 second, Ed. Let me just start the computer. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you all and welcome to the March 6th regular Board of Estimate and Tax meeting. Madam Chairman, we call the roll.
Mayor Rilling,
Here.
Mr. Abrams,
Here.
Mr. Constant, Mr. Frere,
Here,
Mr. Gillarette,
Here.
Mr. Casimis, Miss Yang.
Here.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have a quorum.
Great, thank you. And before we proceed, Ann, officially welcome to the board.
Thank you.
Glad to have you here. To the rest of the board, this is my first meeting as chair. I look to Troy and Jim to help keep me honest as I take over this role and make sure I don't stray too far afield. I'll do my best here, but if I forget things, please just, correct me as we go along. First item on the agenda is approval of the minutes, both from our special meeting on February 7th and February 13th, regular meeting. Can we move the item for discussion?
So moved, Troy.
Troy, thank you. Any changes, amendments, corrections to the minutes from either of those meetings?
Yeah, on the February 7th one, Ed, I was on the attendance from page 1. I was there. It was omitted, so I was in attendance for that meeting.
Okay, thank you. Any other changes or additions or corrections? Seeing none, can I get a motion to approve the minutes as amended?
no moved.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I
Opposed?
And I abstain. I'm
You
sorry.
can abstain, Ann.
Okay.
Okay, the motion passes. Next agenda item, special appropriations. There are none for this particular meeting. So we'll move to item number 3, the transfer agenda on page 7. And I believe there are 2 transfers that we're being asked to approve tonight. One from the Health Department and one from Transportation and Mobility. Is there anybody here to speak on the Health Department transfer?
I see Deanna Demore is on.
Okay, actually, Deanna, before we do that, can I get a motion to move both of these transfers to discussion?
I'll move.
So moved. Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. All right, so Deanna, can you talk to the Health Department transfer request? And you're on mute if you're speaking.
Here she comes.
There you are.
Hi, good evening. Is Deanna on as well? I'm not sure. I see her. But, good evening, guys. Sorry. I took over Deanna's login. I'm Carla Rodriguez. I'm the Health Operations Manager for the Health Department. So Lamont was going to join us this evening to discuss our transfer, but I'll briefly explain what we're doing here. So we They're requesting to, for additional funding to support the health department's WIC program. As a grantee for a region that provides services to low-income parents and their children, the allocated funding that we have does not meet the total budget. So this is in part because our employees that are with the WIC department, they are also entitled to our benefits package, which is significantly high. So as we project on for this year, we are estimating about $62,000 to meet our budget to continue providing these services.
Okay. Any questions, comments from anyone?
I'm sorry, maybe I didn't hear that, but what is the WIC? What is WIC?
So WIC is our Women, Infants, and Children program. We provide many services to low-income mothers, families, children. We supply different certificates for food stamps and for formula, and a lot of educational material to these women as well.
So this is just to pay for their medical benefits?
Correct. That's correct.
And how many people are there?
There's a total of 4 employees.
4? And that was not included in the budget last year, or is it just gone up?
So it is included in the budget. The thing is, or the situation is that currently what we're receiving in funding from the state is not sufficient to cover everything. We have gone to the WIC program to, advocate and say, that we cannot meet our budget. And I know that they've also gone to advocate as well. And unfortunately, we haven't been able to get any further funding from them.
So in the coming budget, are we going to increase that amount to cover that? Or are we going to be able to, do you think, recover it from the state?
Unfortunately, I don't see that we're going to be recovering it going forward. I am aware that Lamont has spoken to the mayor in regards to this, and this is something that we do definitely want to continue providing our community. So I do believe that we're going to definitely look to the city to see if we could continue funding it through the city, especially because it's mainly due to the fringe costs.
Okay. And is there any risk to the takedown on the wages and salary line? Are we going to run into problems later in the year on that? The budget, the line item you're taking things out of?
Oh, we shouldn't. Right now, because we do have a vacancy in the health department, we are able to, we have some funds there that we're able to utilize, and we should be okay for the rest of the year.
Okay, very good. Any other questions, comments on this one? Okay, can I get a motion to approve this transfer?
We
make the
we have a motion out there already. don't we?
Thank you, you're right. So all in favor of this transfer?
Well, no, we got to do the next one too.
All right, Jim, you're fair. All right, so the transportation and mobility, Jim, I see you're on the line. You want to talk to that one?
Sure. So I think this one's pretty straightforward. So we have a surplus in unused payroll that we're looking to do a modest transfer to other contractual services. We have been running a little bit short-staffed in the engineering perspective and project oversight. So this would be to do project administration and construction inspection for the NRVT to complete the final portion of phase 2 that we're currently in construction. Right now, the project is running over limit here. It is a fully grant-funded project, but we need to do the construction administration and project oversight. So this would just be to transfer allocated payroll dollars or a portion of the unspent payroll dollars to other contractual services so that we can contract with Stantec for these services.
Okay. Discussion, any questions from anyone on this? Okay, seeing that there's no questions, all in favor of approving the transfers?
Aye.
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 Opposed? All right, no issues. The transfers are approved. Okay. Moving to other business, there is none. And then our additional information section, is there anyone here from Oak Hills to speak on what's going on there? Any other questions or comments on any of the other information provided by anybody from the board?
Mr. Ed, just Troy, before you go on, could you, Tom, could you, or Ed, could you have somebody come? We haven't seen somebody from Oak Hills the last couple of months.
Yeah.
I noticed there's still an accounts receivable there. I'm sure Jim noticed that too. Just curious why that's still there
Yeah,
on the balance sheet. So if maybe you could check Tom and find out, or have one of them show up at the next meeting, that'd be nice.
I will make sure that happens, and I understand that
Thank you.
there may be some updates on the restaurant front to pass along, but I'll let them speak to that.
yeah, it's more the accounts receivable. I think that's the bigger issue. But yes.
Well, it's from the restaurant.
Okay,
I think it's just in general, it's good to have them come
no, absolutely.
a little bit more often than every 4 months.
Yep.
If not every month, every other month, we should have them.
Yeah, we'll get them on an every other month schedule. Tom, I can work with you on that.
Thank you.
Any other business or comments?
Yeah, I just had one question on the handout. On page 42, we have the fiscal year-to-date budget report, operating expenditures for through February. And then on page 57, we also have and I'm looking at the Board of Ed, and the Board of Ed on page 42 has a total total year-to-date expended of 115 million, but on page 57, it's 126. Could somebody, Tom, perhaps just explain to me which one is what there? Why don't they agree? I know that the one is Fund 11. Why is that's more than what's on the other one on just his expenditures?
Yeah, I'm not sure. The one on page 42 is a single line item that rolls up into the general fund.
Okay,
Which is why it shows up under all of that reporting. And on page 57, you're looking at the end of the detailed reporting for the Board of Ed. I can touch base with them and find out why. My hunch is that they make an entry once a month, and perhaps it was just a timing difference. But I'll check into that to find out for certain.
yeah, because the totals are the same. You know, the approved budget, the revised budget, and the original budget are the same on both pages, but then the year-to-date one was off.
Yeah, I'll chase that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other business comments, questions from anybody?
Yeah, Ed, if I may, just a reminder to everybody that we'll be starting the department level meetings on Wednesday, and probably tomorrow morning I'll get out the reports for your review, for your benefit. And what happens is we bring in the individual departments and the department heads and division chiefs to meet with the Board of Ed, the BET, and respond to questions and inquiries and go through line item by line item if necessary, and find out the meaning behind the variances or the asks. So for example, on Wednesday, we'll be doing the mayor's office, we'll be doing chief of staff, so whatever, so on and so forth. And I will send you everyone a report that lists each department with all of their line items, so you have something in advance to review.
Thank you,
Tom, I have a book that has a compilation. I think Mr. Jack was me earlier. I don't know if it's a couple weeks old. It's maybe 2 or 3 weeks old. Have the different pieces changed? So I should
not necessarily, but from a reporting and presentation perspective, it's much more user friendly in Excel than it is in Munis, which is what you have in your book. You could use the book, but just the way we lay it out, it also gives you some historical actuals going back to 2019, 2020, and there's a field for comments as well. It's an easier way to review the process, but it's the same as our ERP system, which is Munis, and that's what's in your book.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And I would just add that the book that we distributed, I believe it was about February 8th,
Yes.
was the mayor's recommended budget. That recommended budget has not changed. There have been changes in the grant list, which affect mill rates and average tax bills. But the recommended budget has not changed. And as I'm sure you're all aware, tomorrow night, the council will establish a cap, which may be at the mayor's recommended level, above or below. So except for that change, everything in that book is accurate. It has a lot of textual and context and background information that's helpful. And what we tend to do is, as we go through the process and things change, like the council sets a cap, we add a column to our spreadsheets and give you new sheets to put into your book to keep them up to date. So it's a living document. That's why it's not bound, but everything that's in there now still applies.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, just so everybody knows, when we go through the city side of the departments, I'm going to be looking for ways that we can shave some more off of the individual requests. There are some, and I know Mr. Dakowitz and the departments worked very closely together and tried to come in with a budget that is really fair, gives them the things that they need and perhaps a few things that they want. But I think the public has spoken loud and clear, not only the 6th taxing district, but the parents of some of the students. And we really have a challenge ahead of us to make a fair and equitable budget that funds the needed services without overtaxing the residents. And I know this is a very challenging thing. I do appreciate the BET members for taking on this challenge, because it's not easy. As you know, several of you have been there. Well, actually, all of you have been there before at one time or another. And, you know, we have to try to balance it and make sure that, as I said, we don't overtax some of the residents that can barely afford it. We have to understand that there's 8.5% inflation. Everything is costing people more: gasoline, food, rent, everything you can think of. And now on top of that, we're looking for an increase in property taxes. And my position has always been to keep the tax increase as low as we possibly can, understanding the fact that there are contractual issues that need to be addressed, but still we need to cut where we can. So I'm going to be looking for ways that we can perhaps cut some of the line item budgets, and certainly if department heads wish to defend, they'll have that opportunity to do so, and we can make a decision. So this is we're moving forward now in a very, perhaps the most difficult budget year that I've had in my 10 years as mayor. And we need to make sure that we do the right thing for everybody. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I'll also remind ourselves and anybody listening that at the end of our departmental review process, we also will have a public hearing so that people can express to the Board of Estimate and Tax their points of view. Some have already expressed them via email, and others, those will be entered into the record, but we will have a public hearing to give everybody in the community the opportunity to express their point of view as well. So with that, and seeing no other business on tonight's agenda, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Have a good evening, everyone.
Just one other thing, Tom, are you going to send those out digitally? Is it going to be emailed?
Yeah, I'll create PDFs and send them to everyone.
Okay, because just for the record, I don't want anything sent to my house over the next week or so.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, these will all be by email.
Okay, great.
Okay, perfect.
Good
All right.
night.
Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye. Thank you.